Class, this video goes with homework 4, multiplying and dividing fractions. One of the things to note when doing this homework is that all of the questions ask for the final answers to be simplified. So you want to do the multiplication and division and then make sure you've reduced the fraction. Multiplying fractions, the process is that you multiply straight across the numerator and straight across the denominator. So 2 times 5 is 10, and 3 times 6 is 18. And remember, we have to reduce our final answer. So I can divide the top and bottom by 2, and I get 5/9, and 5 and 9 don't have anything in common, so that's the final answer. Sometimes what you'll see people do is they will simplify by doing canceling before they get started. They'll cancel out factors that they have in common. Canceling can only be done when you're multiplying, not when you're adding, subtracting, or dividing. So in this case, I see that 6 is divisible by 2 and 10 is divisible by 2. So if I divide 6 by 2, I get 3, and 10 by 2, I get 5. Then I do 9 times 3 is 27, and 5 times 7 is 35. So if I can cancel out everything they have in common before I multiply, my final answer will be reduced. Here's another example. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 5 doesn't have anything in common, so 1 times 5 is 5, and 3 times 6 is 18. Remember, you could do 2 times 5 is 10, and 3 times 12 is 36, and then reduce it to get 5/18. Either way is fine, as long as you have that final reduced answer. When we divide fractions, since division is the opposite of multiplying, or the inverse of multiplying, then dividing by 4/5, as we see it here, is actually going to be the same as multiplying by 5/4. That flip of the fraction is known as the reciprocal. And then we're going to multiply straight across like before. 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 4 is 12, and I can reduce it. 5/6. So remember, you can't cancel until it becomes a multiplication problem. So I can do 4/9 times 6/5, so multiply by the reciprocal. Now I can divide by 3 and divide by 3, and I get 8/15. 4 times 2 is 8, and 3 times 5 is 15. And again, at this point, I reduce by dividing by 3. We'll do this next example. Can't cancel those 5s because it's not a multiplication problem. I multiply by the reciprocal. Now there's nothing that they have in common. 3 times 9 is 27, and 5 times 5 is 25. Any questions about multiplying or dividing? Let me know.